And what it do, folks? It's your boy Charles Younger here, and thank you for tuning in to Maryland Terrapins Live on the Voice of College Football. Now, for some of the best coverage in college football, please go to www.vocfb.com. All over the place in cyberspace, go to at the VOCFB for X, Twitter, we can call it Facebook, etc., etc., etc. And you can follow me across all social media platforms at Charles Younger. That's CharlesNYonga. Now, first off, let's go ahead and answer the big question is, where have I been? A couple of things. Some family things were going on, so we had to take care of those, and just work and life has been crazy, so I've not had time to step on air and talk to you guys about Maryland college football. But we are back. It is 2026, and today we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Maryland's hitting the ground running this season. Talk about some of the recruits. We're going to talk about Matt Barnes, who joins the staff as special teams coordinator, and the schedule's out and what we think of it. So let's break it all. Let's go ahead and break it down and talk about the schedule. The times are still to be determined, but Maryland opens at home against Hampton University. HU, you know. That'll be Saturday, September 5th. Then Saturday, September 12th, it will be at UConn in Storrs, Connecticut against UConn Huskies. They return home September 19th to host Virginia Tech Hokies. And one more home game, September 26th, hosting UCLA. They go on the road in October, which has always been Maryland's toughest situation, is October on. On the 3rd, they travel to Lincoln, Nebraska to play the Cornhuskers. Then they travel to the Big House in Columbus. No, that's not Big House, it's Michigan, excuse me. The Horseshoe. In Columbus, Ohio to play the Ohio State, which is looking like this is where the schedule is getting tough here, as we can see. Come back home on October 17th to host Rutgers. And on Halloween Sunday, Saturday, October 31st, home against the Fighting Illini of Illinois. November 7th, they'll be on the road to face Purdue. November 14th, which is the day before my birthday, that's a Saturday, hosting Wisconsin. The 21st is a Saturday. They'll be hosting they'll be on the road at USC. And then the home closer against Penn State University, the Nittany Lions. Maryland plays extremely well in September, but hilariously falters when the calendar turns to October. The first three of the first four games, like I said, are against Hampton, Virginia Tech, UCLA, and UConn. So today we're going to focus on just those first four games, starting with Hampton, who was 2-10 last year as an independent. So according to how we play, we are amazing in those first games against lower level competition. So I expect a win. And then we host. I'm sorry, or not Hampton. Sorry, not independent. Excuse me. Hampton was in the MEAC, I think. Yeah. Either way, then we host UConn, who was 9-4. UCLA was 3-9. Virginia Tech was 3-9. So let's talk about some of these teams here. Like I said, Hampton is known for being a HBCU down there in Hampton, Virginia. They're known for competing as the other HBCU known as HU is Howard, but that game is always a great rivalry. But I believe Maryland will once again probably start the season either 4-0 and 3-1 in the month of October, and then go on to possibly finish the season 4-8 again. So, like I said, we were talking about the Maryland schedule here. And I'm going to bring up some things about UConn that I think, or the Maryland schedule is thinking about here. Let me bring up my notes here. Okay, let's take a look about the history of Hampton versus Maryland, which is there is none. I looked it up. There is nothing there that says, hey, with the track on. Let's go about the history of UConn versus Maryland. The last time these two teams played was August 31st in 2024, where Maryland defeated UConn 50-7. That game was all time. Maryland's 3-1 all time. Won the last two. Largest margin of victory was the 50 was for 7-1 game in 2024. Smallest margin of victory was 31-21 in 2013. Average points per game is 34-25. Then we go to the history of Virginia Tech. We're just going to talk about the first four games because next week we'll go back and talk more about the next four games. All time, Maryland is 17-15 against Virginia Tech, with the last time being a 54-10 victory by the Terps on December 29th, 2021. However, it's funny. The first matchup, Maryland lost to Virginia Tech, is 0-6. The last 10, they're 5-5 against each other. Then we have next matchup is going to be UCLA here in College Park. Last matchup was last season, October 18th, where Maryland blew in the fourth quarter chance to win a game, lost 20-7 to UCLA. All time, Maryland is 1-2 against UCLA. Obviously, not much of a history going on between these two. And the fourth game of the season, like I said, is Nebraska, which, again, another game where Maryland last year had the lead and blew a fourth quarter lead, where the last matchup was a 34-31 loss to Nebraska by Maryland, where Maryland gave up 10 points in the fourth quarter, 1-3 all-time against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And that game was just, if you guys were there with us, it was atrocious to watch. It was quite possibly the worst game I have ever watched the Maryland teams play. But we do have, like I said, a interesting roster of players coming in who might make things different this year. As we've talked about all season, Zion Ellie, the 6'4", 220-pound defensive lineman from St. Francis Academy. We have several guys from St. Francis Academy who are there. Juwan Williams, who's a redshirt sophomore. We got transfer in Naheem Abdul-Rahim Galding. Got David Wingate returning, who's a senior, who is one of the best players in the country at his position. So it's going to be interesting years. What's going to happen here with the University of Maryland. And also, I want to talk a little bit about some other stories going on in Maryland football. We have some alumni coming back to the DMV to play football here, as former Maryland tight end Chiga Okonkwo is coming back to the DMV, signed a 3-year deal for $30 million with the Washington Commanders on Wednesday, bringing him back to the area where he built his NFL profile. He also reunites with former Terp safety Nick Cross. Nick Cross also signed with Washington, so it looks like the Washington Commanders are trying to rebuild that DMV connection with Maryland players. So Nick Cross and Chiga Kanu coming back to the DMV area to play for their hometown Washington Commanders. Okonkwo came the most dynamic offensive weapons during his time in College Park, is using his speed and versatility developed as a top-level prospect, being selected in the 4th round of the 2022 NFL Draft, where he quickly became an athletic receiving tight end, and now returns to the region with a major contract and a chance to make an impact for Washington. So, and Nick Cross was also another highly recruited prospect coming out of the Matha in Hyattsville, Virginia, Hyattsville, Maryland, who was a 4th round pick by the Colts, coming back to his home area to play for possibly his hometown team growing up. And a couple other things I want to talk about today is running back Chuanga ODU has been added to Big Ten ACC offers after January window. Now visits are being planned. ODU has visited several teams in the Big Ten, including Penn State, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Maryland. And that could be an interesting way, because if Maryland has a good season this year, a season where they turn things around, where they play better, where they look, like a confident team, that might help make a decision for this young man, for ODU, to come play here at the University of Maryland and possibly be what you would call another weapon for Malik Washington to use when it comes to playing football. So, like I said, this was going to be a short show, because it's going to be a short show today, because I just wanted to check in with you guys. I am still here. I want to talk to you guys a little quick things about what's going on in Maryland, and next week we'll be back to a real full-time show. We'll be back to doing what we normally do. Next week we'll have Mark Gray back with us. We'll go more in depth into spring practice. We'll go more in depth with the rosters. We'll go more in depth with Maryland football and what we plan to see coming up in 2024. I'll be attending some spring practices, getting some interviews with some players. So the content today is a little light because I have been not able to keep up with the team as much as I normally like to, but I want to let you know that I am here. I am back. I want to give you guys an opportunity to let you know that the voice of college football, Maryland Terrapins Live, will be good. And my final thoughts are this. For today, Maryland football has the opportunity to make a drastic change in how they are perceived in the Big Ten. Now, their big matchups this year are home against Penn State, home against Illinois, and on the road at the Ohio State. Now, if Maryland can somehow make this instead of going 4-8 again, this is a make or break year for Coach Loxley. It's 4-8. It's 4-8 year, another 4-8 year with this team. He might be gone, but if they can make it a 6-5, 7-4, they can make it have a winning record in this season. Like we said last year, a winning record will make this year seem like a success. James Smith, the new AD, Coach Loxley, you guys got your hands full with what you want to do this year when it comes to producing a competent team here on the field. So, and with that, I got to say, I have been Charles Younger here for the voice of Maryland Terrapins Live, the voice of college football. Follow me across all social media platforms at Charles Young, that's CharlesNyonga, and I will see you next week.